Hey everybody, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. It's been a while since I did a video, and actually I've just kind of been way too busy. Here's Jen. She had major dental surgery, and she's still recovering, but she's doing super good. Also, I had her shaved because she just, is getting older, and that just mild heat is difficult. So she's waiting for the sun to come up. I don't think we're going to have sun today, but we've had unusual amount of, snow this winter and rain, actually. But I thought I would do like a garden tour. That's her. This is for her big surgery coming up in June. And if anyone's watching, I have a blog, coe-llc.com. It's the first blog that's up, and I've updated it about her neck surgery because it's going to be $2,700. And yeah, if people out there want to help me, donations would be super great. And you can find the donation links on there. So would highly appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to cancel the surgery. And it's to remove, this giant GMO fat tumor that she's got on her leg. And there's a photo of it. But anyway, I've been exhausted. And yeah, so I had to, my porch was a mess from after winter. So I've gotten it all kind of organized. This is my chainsaw table. So I can work on the chainsaw. Lots of stuff to cut up from the year. Anyway, so I figured to give you a little tour. I realized finally this morning that this time last year I was still raking knee-deep leaves and limbs and garbage across this whole property. And I was pushing for the May 31st date because it was the last day for burns. And I on May 31st I burned pile 17 that was huge. And yeah, I mean all of them were huge last year. So this year I'm still in the cleanup, and I've been pushing to get long-term. Last year I didn't even start till like mid-June getting long-term food. We're talking melons, squash, cucumbers, things like that, tomatoes. Excuse me. So I realized like I'm way ahead, and you can see all the weeds from hell. Well, they're not from hell. Some of them are edible, some are from heaven. So I thought I'd give you a little tour to see where I'm at now. And I have planted a lot of stuff. In the last 2 days, about 1 o'clock, I just collapsed. I just passed out for like 4 hours because I was so exhausted. I think we'll just start over here, and then we'll just make our way around. Still, getting rid of stuff. And I did fix this whole fence line, which I did a video on. This is the garden. I have stuff that's come up from last year. And I have some stuff that I need to transplant, like that thistle. I've got some other stuff in here, but I have some lovelies. So I did plant bush beans and pole beans recently, but these are all my peas. Snap peas. I've got garlics growing that I planted. Snap peas, Alaskan peas. I do have some seeded broccolis from last year that are going to seed. Some of the kale from last year is going to seed. Parsley's ginormous. This area over here, all this debris, I'm going to move. All the usable wood goes over there. All the usable wood goes over there. And this is going to be my little grass meadow area. And so I'm actually watering this grass. And then I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got blueberries now. I've got a lot of wild lettuce growing, which is good for medicine making. I've got all kinds of sunflowers. This is my meadow grass. Isn't it awesome? I'm not going to cut it. And then I've got all kinds of flowers growing up in it. I have asparagus coming up. I've got a whole bunch of sunflowers I planted, grape. Yeah, so, and I've got a whole bunch of chicory in here. You can see, oh, and that's the cat. Oh, see, the cat likes to hide out there. I don't know why the cat likes it there. Well, he's wild. He sleeps underneath the house. He's a good kitty. He gets rid of all the bad stuff. He even kicks ass on voles. This area, I've got armouth coming back up, and asparagus, and different flowers. I've got a lot of, also I've got a lot of soapwort that I've planted. And then here's my, this is going to be my mulch pile. So I've started bringing stuff over here. I'm going to pull that down with the car, cut those old things, and then I've got a fence that I'm going to run all the way around over to there, and then just fill it with mulch. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. And so a lot of this stuff will go in there. Anyway, it's just a lot. It's a lot of, it went from, like I said, knee deep of limbs, burning and everything else, to planting. And I'm planting kind of on the edges because I want things to kind of filter to the middle. And then now I'm doing some middle planting. So in here I've got Alaskan peas, I've got a snap pea, I've got sunflowers, and that is a boysenberry. And then my mugwort came back this year. It looks so gorgeous, unbelievable. So yeah, so I've got all kinds of stuff growing. This is a kind of a test driver potato thing. I cut the bottoms so the potatoes are actually sitting on the ground, not the plastic. And then my lavender, all my snow peas, snap peas. Like I said, I've got all kinds of beans that I've got planted all over. Look at my mugwort this year. Ooh, she's a beauty over there. These are, I collected a lot of this mugwort stuff. Remember last year from the river in Reno, 2 hours away. Here's a nice thistle coming up. My bully thistles for my arthritis. I make tincture for my RA patients that they love. And then I've got some borage there looking gorgeous. More right here, I've got like this rose. See the rose coming up? That's from last year. I transplanted it there. It struggled really hard last year, but it looks pretty good this year. And I've got more chicory, boysenberry. Let's look over here at the garden. My chives are flowering. I've got a lot of really good food over there going. Even though it's going to seed, it's fine. And then I've got some newbies, startups. Got a lot of weeds. Oh, and I have a ton of, I've just been munching down on my, I got to see a couple lettuces too. It's nice. So I've got to also transplant those too. Looks like, those look like they're bull thistle too. So anyway, got another bull thistle there. Primrose and Alaskan snow pea. And yeah. Oh, and this is a sunchoke. Isn't she gorgeous? That one, sunchoke's not doing so good. So I got one from some friends and transplanted it. It's doing really well. And then I got a pot of long, skinny, tall ones. So they're trying to adapt. Here's my rhubarb looking gorgeous. Snap peas, snow peas. Oh, this is my salad burnet. Oh, got a strawberry down there. That one sunchoke's not doing good, but this one, the tall one's doing better. Little primrose. Here look, this garden bed that I built last year, it's just getting started this year, but it's looking pretty good so far. And I've got a lot of edible stuff in here, medicinal, clove, this clover I got from the river before it flooded. Well, I got it last year. This year the river's flooded, so won't have any of that down there. Look at my mullein. Some more bull thistle. Yes, bull thistle's good stuff. And then here's my yarrow that I planted here last year. It was just one little plant, and look at it. It's so gorgeous. I love having the yarrow. Actually, I used the yarrow because Jen had the surgery, and she started kind of having some colon hemorrhaging or something, and she was like shitting blood, and so yarrow came to the rescue. I chopped it up and put it in her food directly, and then made her yarrow water for a couple days. And so I've got zucchini and squash here like I did last year. I try it again. More bull thistle and peas, and I got sunchokes, and this is my horehound. It's flowering. Beautiful. I got rosemary and a strawberry in there. And then over here, last year I had beans, and the beans just didn't like it here. So that sunchoke's struggling a little bit, but ooh, and look at all my purslane. I got more purslane over there in the garden that I need to move. So now I'm like doing patches. Eventually everything will be like flowers and medicinal plants and food. Oh, I just got attacked in the eye by a bug. But this is hops. Nougat. It's nugget hops. And then I've got some Icelandic poppies growing. And I've got some tarragon, French tarragon. And I've got, what else do I have in here? I think I have seeded some echinacea in here, and something else. Not sure. But anyway, this is the old bean post, so the hops really actually like it here. Way better than the beans did, so that's a good thing. Hops will come back next year too. And I've got some sage here, and more mullein. Ooh, and here's the other rose that I planted here from the river last year. It's still struggling, but she's looking good. My mugwort coming up, boysenberry, some miscellaneous, excuse me. And I still haven't utilized my compost yet, but there's compost underneath there, so I'm gonna probably use that on some, well, I'll use it, later on when everything, but you can see the weeds here. I have tons of weeds. I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, I have tons of weeds, and I'm going to be picking like a crazy lady. This all came off of these cottonwoods over here because I had to trim them. I never got time last year to actually trim them, but we'll go over here and take a look. My ladder tied to the roof because, there's lots of stuff going up on that roof, and I got to figure out what to do to stop the leaking in case, we have a bad winter again. But I had some pretty serious leaking. Okay, and then over here, this pot of water here, I keep it full for the bees and the wasps. I've got parsley that came back from last year that I've been chowing on. These are kind of my starters. Lemongrass. I planted my lemongrass last year. These are new. And then I've got some marjoram and mint and stuff. These are kind of all my starter pots. And start all my little stuff. I have to put a thing there because the birds are awful. They eat anything that hasn't been nailed down. Alright, so we're going to look over here. This is my herb bed from last year. It's looking super good. Look at that. I got sweet mint, peppermint in here. I got parsleys from last year that are growing, that are doing good. I've got some sunflowers. And back then, my lemon balm. Last year, my lemon balm wasn't that great, but it had a hard time. But this year, look, it's adapted wonderfully. Rosemary, my chamomile, my oregano, thyme. Mind you, this is all high altitude. I'm like 4,500 feet, kind of the syrup. And yeah, there's some more meadow grass that I'm cultivating. Here's my mounds. My squish mounds, my different kinds of squish. This year I'm doing an heirloom squish. I'm doing an heirloom squash, and I'm doing spaghetti squash, and then butternut, because butternut's like one of my favorite, and see how those do. But see, I've got those dug out, and I have to weed, but I'm not so hard on myself right now because I realize that This is a bean pole. It also has dill planted in it. It has a mixed flower bunch and then sunflowers. And then it's got mixed poppy seed. And in the middle it has a nasturtium. Nasturtium. All right, and then more mounds. But I realized, like, I was still burning till May 31st, you know, piles of crap. Here's some of my catnip. I love it. It's so good in tea and stuff, and it's just an amazing anti-spasmodic. And then here's another, this is another pole bean spot. And dill, and also mixed flowers and sunflowers and seeded poppy seeds that haven't come up yet. But I realized, like, as far as growing, I'm like a month ahead this year, so that's so great. So we'll walk around here. Yeah, see? And, oh yeah, here's my comfrey. She's gonna go to seed. Look at her. She's looking beautiful. She's gotten attacked, though, quite a bit by the birds. The birds have really, you know. This is another bed. I was super excited about that. That's golden seal. And I've got a couple others that are coming up. And so last year, I got some flowers. This I planted. It has lots of different stuff in it. Leverage, horehound, more borage. The birds are eating the poop out of it. And another, you know what, bull thistle. And I've got a little lavender, snow peas, and all kinds of gorgeous stuff in here. And I've got another salad brunette, sage, comfrey. This is like such a beautiful, it was along the river and I dug up a patch. It had the most beautiful flowers on it. So I think it'll be nice here. You know, do all these ground covers so eventually, you know, you have ground cover. But anyway, so the golden seal were roots from the East Coast in the mountains. I got some potatoes coming up, soapwort. This bed's slow because it's cooler. I got more catnip. And I planted some other stuff in here, so we'll just see what happens. More snap peas and Alaskan peas. Oh, look at this. This is from last year. So a couple little sprigs of mugwort. And this is what it turned out to be. Isn't it just glorious? And I love mugwort. I smoke it. Love it. Use it and, you know, smudge and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, it smells so good. And in oil, like I cure it in oil. It has so much vitamin E in it, and it just makes the oil just so healing for the skin. I planted some soapwort there. It's taking some time. I've got blackberries, the soapwort. These are all transplants, and they always look yucky in the beginning, but then they pop up. I got another blackberry there. And then here's my lone strawberry. I don't know what happened to my other one, but in here I've planted all the seeds for my heirloom tomatoes. And then look at that rose that I transplanted there from last year from the river. I thought it was dead, but it came back. Here's some more of my great meadow grass. Here's my hibiscuses. One's white and one's purple for, you know, hibiscus Kool-Aid. And then I've got some mullein and some other stuff growing in there. A couple bell peppers, Yeah. And then back there, I planted some soapwort and blackberries. So, and then my maple tree is looking so much better this year because I did get some of the dead limbs, but not all. But anyway, so we'll just kind of give you guys a panorama. And then back there along the ditch, I have a plant that I cannot name that I'm planting back there. And also nettles, and also milkweed for butterflies. So that I will be transplanting back there once they seed. And then look at all the weeds. It's like a giant carpet. And then here's kind of like what it looks like. It looks pretty good. I'm ahead of schedule. So weeds are just going to be an enormous event, but you know, it's going to be epic actually. I've never seen like these many weeds in my entire life. I thought last year was bad, but whew, this year is going to be crazy. Okay, so now we'll finish the tour. I should do those time-lapse videos so people can see actually how many hours goes into this. A lot. A lot. But I love it. And then here's another squish right there. And then I've got another blueberry and Russian sage. These are melons. So this one is a cantaloupe, more sunchokes. Sunchokes are like potatoes, but they produce a pretty good sized nougat that tastes just like, you cook it just like an artichoke, and it tastes like an artichoke heart. Yeah. And then these are my melons. These, I have heirloom melons and cantaloupe, and I've got one watermelon. I've got little native corns coming up, and flowers and sunflowers, and over here I have huckleberries planted with seeds. I'm not sure they're coming up yet, with a mixed seed and herb seeds. The sunchoke struggling a little bit. These are the ones I transplanted from my friend, you know. Then I've got more medicinal plants and food and corn. This is another, these are all melon mounds all the way over. And then more huckleberries and stuff, sunchoke, medicinal plants seeded in these little areas. It's kind of easier to do like spot areas because then they can actually grow in to towards the, you know, eventually this stuff will all cover the whole thing. It'll be one big, here's a lavender. It'll be one big, you know, medicinal food forest. Here's sunflowers, native corn, and all the way down different types of herbs. Another melon mound. Some of them are growing melons. And then this one is another huckleberry with mixed flowers. Another melon mound. This melon is really going for it. I think this one's the watermelon. The watermelon mound. And then I've got another little garden squash here that has all kinds of different mixed flowers and stuff. So, and it has some ashwagandha in there. Yeah, which is kind of cool. And then here's this melon mound, and I already have cantaloupes coming up. This is, last year this was my corn area. This is my cucumber area this year. And then I've got, you know, more bull thistle. I do have other thistle on the property, but it always amazes me, like, you know, what medicines you're going to be working with next and which show up. And then here's a whole bunch of my armeth, and it'll grow. Birds like the seeds. I don't thrash the seeds because it's too hard. Maybe if I was starving, that'd be a whole other, you know, thing. But I'm kind of getting eaten by a mosquito because it's moist out. But the leaves you can eat in salad, and it's so good, actually. And then it has mixed flowers in here, and poppies, and that's arugula back there. It came back up this year, which is great. And then more bull thistle. I figure I can always eat it. And then I've got seeds, and I should have a lot of other herbs. And then I've got, this is going to be zucchini, crookneck. Always allow all dandelions to live. Look at this yarrow from last year being one little yarrow thing, and look at it. It's just it's just gorgeous. And I got some primrose and sunflowers, and then over there I transplanted soapwort. There's some corn in there. Soapwort transplant, strawberry transplant, soapwort. And then the potatoes, all those are potatoes. I gotta cover the tops with dirt, so they'll keep growing. And then I've got a boysenberry. I got my asparagus is coming up. I've got lots of sunflowers. I've got like a whole area of mixed flowers. See, next year they'll blow out, and each time they blow out, it'll cover and cover more and more of, the bad areas. There, that's a grapevine, little baby. Yeah, so some of this, and then boysenberry, and then inside the weeds there. Inside the weeds, and like I said, I've got a lot of lamb's quarter growing, but I pick it and eat it because lamb quarter is kind of like the fresh thing, And the boysenberry asparagus is growing, and I got some native corn back there, and then mixed flowers. And like I said, every time the flowers blow out, more potatoes. Each time they blow out every year. See, I didn't get to plant things over here last year. It was just like a giant sand dune. So, yeah, it's doing pretty amazing. And then I've got a grapevine there, and I've got more asparagus and stuff, and blueberry, and just, So, yeah, that's the tour. And so this year it should be in the areas that I worked last year. Should just explode. Here I'm going to start a soapwort patch. Hopefully it will kind of start to take over. And I decided I'm going to plant nettle, actually. Because the ground is like really hard here, and it had, man-made grass in it. And so I'm just going to plant nettles here, and then eventually it'll just, nettles will be all over this area, which will kind of take it over and help it. Because ground needs roots in order to bring the water down, right, into the ground, and also hold the ground together, and also keep the ground from seizing up the clay, Yeah, so anyway, so I've got strawberries in here. And then more catnip. Look at my snowball ball bush. Then I've got mixed flowers. I've got yarrow that I planted in there from last year. Mullein. And I've got my little lemon balm. And some more chicory and stuff in here. And so hopefully the bees will have stuff to eat. Be happy. And look at my girl. When I first moved in here, like, she was like not good. This tree was going down, and just gave her love, and kind of babied her, and she's just coming back. She's just looking gorgeous. All right, and then more, chamomile and gorgeous stuff. So yeah, so that's what we've got. And then over here, I forgot to mention, I put these bricks over here, and for strawberry starters. And there's 2 different type of heirloom strawberry seeds that I put in them. One in there and one here. So that'll be cool, because I can always transplant them out of there when they're big enough, and then reuse the bricks for something else, right? It doesn't have to be a permanent thing. And that's what I find is, like, I grow things, and then when it kind of overgrows into a certain extent, then I will actually move it, or move part of it. All right, everybody, it's parsley time. Thanks for watching. And just in case, I have friends that probably the only way they keep in touch with me is by watching my videos on my gardening expedition here. So anyway, have a great day. And you too can grow anything. You just need just get started. All right, everybody, talk to you later. Oh, and don't forget, if you can, help donate to Jin's cause to get her big giant tumor off her leg. Because it's not cancer. I've thrown everything at it, and I'm using Chinese medicine now to like soft it and pull it off the meat. So, but I need to raise $2,700. So thanks so much. All right, everybody. Talk to you later. Oh, and coe-llc.com is my website, and the first blog on there says Jin's first surgery over, next surgery June 21st. And if you go on that blog, you can find links on how to donate. I've got PayPal and Zelle up there. So thank you. Over and out.